Hey, fellow weirdos, welcome back once again to the Mask Fan Attic, where we look for cool and interesting old Halloween masks. Tonight in the attic, or today, depending on when you're watching this. I don't know when you're watching it. Maybe you're watching it at 4 in the morning or 6 in the morning. I don't know. This week's mask, let's say, is a rare and sort of overlooked, peculiar version of one of the most popular monsters and therefore popular mask subjects of all time, Dracula. That's right. Now, many Dracula masks have been created over the years, obviously. Many of them based on particular movies and likenesses of particular actors, such as the most famous and influential Dracula actor of all time, Bela Lugosi, who played Dracula in 1931. There have also been Dracula masks based on the likenesses of later actors who played the part, like Lon Chaney Jr. from Son of Dracula, John Carradine from House of Dracula, Christopher Lee from Horror of Dracula, and some other Dracula pictures. But this particular one, who is he? Well, this particular one is not supposed to be any particular actor. He's just a Dracula. He's Dracula the character, but not as portrayed by any specific actor. Now, the only thing that's weird about that is that this is actually a licensed mask from Universal Studios. This is a Universal Monsters, Universal Pictures Corporation officially licensed Dracula collectible, and yet it doesn't look like Lugosi or any of the other Draculas that appeared in the movies. Owing to problems with licensing rights having to be paid to the estates of actors when their likenesses are used, they wanted to come out with one in 1993 that would sort of look like everybody's general idea of what Dracula looks like, but would not require the participation of the estate of any particular actor who had played the part. So we have here a generic Dracula, but it's still a universal Dracula, which is a little odd. And it did come with this collar. I didn't add that. It had the collar. Now, I believe you could get copies without the collar. I had one that didn't have a collar for a while. I don't know if that's because it fell off or something, or if some of them didn't have collars. But that's kind of cool if you were going to wear it, because, well, you just throw it on and there. It looks like you're wearing a, a big cape collar with just a plain black. You could throw a hefty bag over your shoulders, and everybody's like, "Oh, look, it's Dracula. There's the big cape collar on." Yeah. Strange paint job, a little bit bluish, greenish gray. Can you see that sort of green? He's got some shiny teeth and some blood on here, and he's got possessed, demonic-looking eyes with red and yellow going on. The hair in this edition was just sheet fur, that is to say acrylic fun fur, as it's sometimes called, stuck on. Now, a lot of times I don't like fun fur on deluxe masks, but it works for Dracula because his hair looks sort of traditionally Brill creamed, sort of slicked back and pasted down. Anyway, I love it that they put the white streaks in there. That makes him very distinctive. So I think it's a cool version of Dracula, sculpted by an artist named Mario Chiodo, by the way, whose work is frequently identifiable by what I guess you'd call his sort of trademark skin texture. A lot of Mario's masks, and there have been many masks created by the very talented, very super creative Mario. A lot of his masks have this same sort of skin texture. It's just something that, it was sort of an obsession with him while he was creating all these masks, to give him this sort of bumpy, pebbly texture. Now, it might not look as good if he were working on a mask of, say, C-3PO or Britney Spears. Might not look that good to have this texture, but for a generic Dracula, it's kind of cool because it kind of gives him this weird aged look without looking like traditional old age wrinkles would look. Something a little odd to his wrinkles. And this fabric collar that you see down here, I didn't add that either. When I got this, that was attached. Again, I don't know if they all had that. It wasn't in production for a long time, only a couple of seasons. And oddly enough, the eyebrows were generally painted on, like you see here. Not crazy about that. I would have liked to have seen little, fur or hair on there so that the eyebrows would be dimensional rather than just flat to the face. But still a cool Dracula collectible and a licensed universal one. And years later I came into possession of an unpainted one of these, and I fixed it up, painted it myself, and Laura, my long-suffering wife, put hair on it, and I will show you that one now. And this is the same piece. This is just one that again, I got it unpainted, and this is how we did it to look like this. Okay, same exact Dracula head, only this is him painted by me and haired by Laura. Now, of course, it's a little more detailed than the production version, because obviously they can't spend the kind of time in doing things for production that have to be, sold at a reasonably low price to the great unwashed masses of the mask buying public. They can't spend the kind of time on production masks and keep the price down that I can spend when I get one unpainted, and I think, oh, I'm going to spend a little more time on that and paint it however I like. But I made him a similar color, only lighter. I put more white in the highlight color, and I made his eyes, I think, a little more evil looking. Tried to make his eyes a little more evil looking, and I tried to use a pretty realistic blood. And by the way, you see that blood right there? That blood is Chaotic Creations blood, which is the blood that Dr. Lady recommends for use on masks when you want to paint blood on there and you want it to look wet and sticky and shiny and look nice and red like real blood. I always use, okay, not always, I've used lots of other things. Don't lie. No, you're right, I won't lie to them. Not always, but my favorite of the many blood types I've used is Chaotic Creations mask blood. Wet, shiny, red, has a nice sticky, gory look to it, and stays, reasonably flexible and stays shiny looking. So look up Chaotic Creations if you paint your own masks and you want to put blood on there. If not, well then I guess don't. But this one has also been haired by Laura with crepe hair rather than sheet fur, fun fur like I mentioned the other one had. So this is a little more deluxe version, but he's pretty cool, isn't he? Again, he doesn't look like any particular actor. He looks a little bit like Jonathan Frid as Barnabas Collins, I guess, when you get right down to it. You could probably make an interesting Barnabas out of this by painting it flesh tones and putting that sort of, remember Barnabas Collins had this sort of jaggedy succession of peaks that were sort of bent. Do you remember that? He had these sort of curved, yeah, you don't remember that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, is it? For now, I need to get Dracula back into his coffin quick before the sun comes up. So we'll see you again later in the Mask Fan Attic.